Hey, happy day to you. Today I'd like to talk about new chapters. New chapters come in many forms. They can be happy or sad, they can be clear or confusing, or prepared for, or a surprise that is either wanted or not. Change and new chapters are a part of all of our stories. And no matter the change, even the positive change, intentional transition is required. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, change is external, and transition is an internal process of all the things that come up and that we go through when we're facing change. We can go through the physical motions, but miss that internalization process that is necessary to fully transition and accept change. To get started on this internal transformation, we must first accept that something is ending or changing before we can allow in that new idea or that new sense of being or identity or whatever it might be. This part of the transition process is often very emotional, especially when the transition or change is forced into our lives, when that change is uncomfortable or unwanted. When we think change or transition, we tend to think of it as a loss. And while your transformed self will usually cost you your old self to some extent, this loss can be tremendously difficult, but it doesn't have to be all bad or all negative. Even considering the most painful and grief filled transitions in life, think about it. Even positive change has loss. For for change is to let go of part of who you are or who you used to be, and that can be, in my opinion, a beautiful thing. That is life, and that is growth, and in life change happens all the time, whether we are ready or not. Changes large or small are not always smooth or easy or wanted, no matter how much we might even look forward to them. The changes that we are looking forward to and the things that we're highly anticipating, like getting a pet or getting married or buying a car or a house or working towards a degree or moving abroad. Or let's say, for instance, let's take one of my personal positive chapters on change. This chapter was a seemingly endless multi-step green card process that my husband and I have been going and working through over the past more than a year, over a year now. Even an exciting period of transition like this, it can feel like it can feel very uncomfortable because it can seem slow, and the process takes a long time, and it can feel like no progress is being made, and we might even worry about it actually working out and him being able to get the green card, and if not, like, what are we going to do? So it's good to prepare for those types of things, but letting it control that whole time span, uh, it's important. Still, it's important, first of all, to realize for anyone or any transition, positive or negative, that it is okay to feel unsure, uncertain, and some anxiety even. It is it's to be expected, really, to feel these things, to go through these emotions to some extent. This can be especially hard when change feels mostly negative, like there is no gain and only loss. But remember that that is a feeling and not always necessarily the reality. It's just something we're bringing up in our mind. Even if it is a potential reality, it's good to focus on the possibilities. And I'll go a little more into that to help with clarity here. It is just helpful to focus on the gain instead of the pain. Focus on the gain instead of the pain. Instead of focusing on loss and uncertainty, think about what good can come from change. So often, we don't do this. So often we worry about the negative things that might happen, And while the outcome could surely go one of both ways, the opposites in extremes, there is no use or not much gain from continually dreading the worst case scenario. As usually, most worries don't tend to come true, anyways. See it over and over again. Besides, in the course of all this happening, you can't change if they do. You can only control your thinking and your actions right now or when that change comes. So, that being said, my husband is actually arriving today. Oh my gosh, today in the USA. Yay, yay, yay. So now we are in this new transition into the next phase of the process and the next exciting chapter in our lives. Still, there are many uncertainties that could be worrisome, could be. And I mention that only to express to you that the reality and the choice that we do have, that we choose. We choose to see uncertainty as a roadblock or learn to embrace uncertainty as opportunity. The journey, the journey. Oh, the possibilities, all the new chapters can bring for us, to any of us. The process is so much easier to endure when we remain focused on the beauty that could be and will be, and that will help us transition internally as well. Still, it is important to express that no matter the transition you're going through, I'm not going to say that it isn't going to take a lot of work or that it won't be a challenge, or a challenge on many levels for that matter, that will take a lot of intentionality to get through. But the transition process will be more manageable and more meaningful if you take your time to internalize, as well as to realize and become aware of the outcome that you do want. The focus on what you do want and the positive possibilities to be gained, instead of focusing on, or at least focusing solely on, the uncertainties and loss that might happen. So, no matter where you're at, cheers to you in accepting and embracing whatever new chapter that is unfolding in your life. As for me, I'm off to the airport to pick up my husband, and sure, there's a lot to be figured out. But cheers to growing through the journey in new chapters. And lots of blessings to you all. Love and hugs. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.